good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Dinah Sbelgio Kinard. I'm the Director of Admission Partnerships and Programs at St. Edward's University. It's wonderful to have you with us today for this webinar about our entrepreneurship program at the university. We have three professors from the department to speak to you today. Dr. Lorelei Ortiz, who's Chair of Management and Entrepreneurship at St. Edward's, Professor Antonio Alvarado, who is the MSB, the Munday School of Business Executive in Residence, and then Professor Robert Ryan, who's Adjunct Professor of Management and Entrepreneurship. Before I turn it over to our esteemed colleagues, I would like to go over a few logistics related to just utilizing the Zoom feature of webinar today. We will be using the Q&A tool to take your questions. We don't have the chat feature enabled. So if you need to communicate with us or if you have a question for our presenters, please do enter your questions through the Q&A feature that you see in your Zoom webinar ribbon, which I'm sure everyone's pretty familiar with at this point. We have about 20 to 30 minutes of a formal presentation, and then we will open it up for questions and be happy to take your questions as long as you have them. So I know we have people joining us from all over today, students who are at different points of their college search, and we look forward to sharing more information with you about our entrepreneurship program and any other questions that you may have about St. Edward's. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Ortiz.
Thank you so much, Dinah. And thank you, students and prospective students and parents who are joining us today. Thank you for the time to talk to you about our entrepreneurship program in the Bill Munday School of Business. Again, my name is Lorelei Ortiz, and I have two faculty from the entrepreneurship program today. So I wanted to start with some introductions. I am the chair of the Department of Management and Entrepreneurship, and I'm also a professor of business communication in the Bill Munday School of Business. I don't have the pleasure of teaching entrepreneurship entrepreneurship courses, but I do teach courses in the business core, which means I would have the pleasure of having you in my classes. I teach the soft skills courses for the business school, such as business communication, business and professional speaking, and business internship, which is a course that allows students to get hands-on experience in industry while also getting course credit. We also have with us today Professor Antonio Alvarado, who is our executive in residence in the Bill Munday School of Business. Professor Alvarado is an attorney specializing in small business. He's a former administrative head of the State Bar and is also the founder and coordinator for all of our MSB pitch and business plan competitions, which he will tell you about in the second half of today's presentation. Professor Alvarado teaches business law, new venture creation, entrepreneurial practicum, business negotiation, among others. He is one of our lead faculty in the entrepreneurship program and works very closely with the entre students as a mentor and guide and to help develop your ventures and your business ideas. We also have Professor Robert Ryan with us. Professor Ryan is an adjunct professor of management and entrepreneurship. He has very broad and deep industry experience, particularly in high-tech industry. He has worn many hats. He's been co-founder, chief executive officer, chief operating officer, vice president. Currently is also a partner of multiple firms. He can teach across a very broad span of courses as well in these areas. Teaches introduction to entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial management, new venture creation, new product and service design, and teaches our strategy courses both for the undergrad program as well as in our MBA program. So here's a very busy slide with a lot of information, but I think it will be very helpful for you. It is a snapshot of what the business major in entrepreneurship would require from you as a student. So what you're looking at here does not include the general education requirements that are required for every student at St. Edward's, regardless of your major. And so courses like that would be courses such as the languages courses or the writing courses. So those aren't included in here. This is just a snapshot of what the business major in entrepreneurship requires. What you see on the right-hand column are all of the courses from the business core. These are the courses that every business major will have when they graduate. And so regardless of whether you're entrepreneurship, accounting, finance, international business, management or marketing, etc., these are all your core courses. And so these include all the foundational business courses such as accounting, economics, finance, corporate social responsibility, business law, business comm, intro to business, which is one of the first courses you would take, marketing and operations, and many others. So these are your foundational business courses. And then on the right-hand side, that column, you see the courses that are specific to the entrepreneurship major. So required courses for the entrepreneurship major would be Introduction to Entrepreneurship, Entrepreneurial Finance and Accounting, Entrepreneurial and Design Thinking, New Venture Creation, Entrepreneurial Practicum, and then in addition, you would choose 2 other courses from this list, which includes Digital Law, Internship, Social Enterprise, Entrepreneurial Management, Special Topics in Entrepreneurship, where the topic changes every time the course is offered, New Product Service Design and Development, Technology Entrepreneurship, Social Media Marketing, and Digital Marketing and Analytics. So the way this program is structured is to give you the foundational business courses, obviously that every business major should have, regardless of your concentration. And then you have those foundational entrepreneurship courses. And in addition, the flexibility to choose those 2 additional last courses. And it's designed that way so that students can gravitate towards the courses that speak to their interests and their passions. So if you're an entrepreneurship major who's very interested in marketing, you would do your core entrepreneurship courses, and then you could choose, let's say, the social media marketing and the digital marketing and analytics. If you're an entrepreneurship major who is very interested in social justice issues, you could choose as your last 2 courses, a social enterprise course and one of the other courses. If you're a student in entrepreneurship who's very interested in gaining hands-on experience while you're still in school, one of your second courses that you choose would be the internship course that would allow you to work with a startup, for example, and see how startups operate, while also at the same time getting course credit through the internship course. So it's really meant to be flexible and also to provide you those very strong foundational skills. If you know you want to be a business major and that's your passion, but you don't necessarily want to major in entrepreneurship, let's say that you want to major in management or international business and minor in entrepreneurship, we do have a minor option available as well. The entrepreneurship minor is available to any student at St. Edward's, regardless of whether you're in the business school or not. So if you're a student who wants to major in psychology, you could minor in entrepreneurship, or in communication with a minor in entrepreneurship. It's also a very good option for students in the business school who have the business major in another concentration and then the minor in entrepreneurship. The required courses for the minor: Intro to Entrepreneurship, Entrepreneurial and Design Thinking, Entrepreneurial Accounting and Finance, Entrepreneurship Practicum, and Principles of Accounting. And then you choose 1 additional course to complete your minor, and you can select from this list at the bottom. The really nice thing for students who are business majors in one concentration and then entrepreneurship minors is that the minor is really only 15 credit hours for you, because that required Principles of Accounting, you will have taken that already as part of your business core that every business student takes. So that's a really great option for students. In addition to stellar faculty and a really great curriculum, we also have valuable partnerships with startup accelerators and incubators in the area. Capital Factory, for example, is considered the definitive accelerator for the Austin area. It's considered ground zero for Austin entrepreneurs. Impact Hub, Austin Inno, Austin Tech Council, all of these are accelerators where entrepreneurs of all ages and at various stages of development in their projects can go to the space and have a community of like-minded, innovative, creative people. The membership includes Austin experts in industry from across various sectors who can help you as mentors to develop your ideas and your projects. We also have a new partnership with Inc. It's an organization that's very unique in that it's tailored to assist entrepreneurs, particularly students in entrepreneurship, who have a business idea, but they haven't really gotten it off the ground and haven't done a business plan or thought out all of the different areas of development. And so you have industry experts who serve as mentors at UNINC who can help you to develop your project from the ground up. And they have experts in various areas. So if your interest is in tech, like tech apps, you have somebody at UNINC who works with those areas and has experience in those startups that can help you. If you have sustainability issues, you can work with someone there who is an expert in those sustainability areas. So in addition to our accelerator partnerships, we also partner with many local nonprofits and for-profits. These range from small startups to really large Fortune 500s. We've done a great job leveraging and capitalizing on our location in Austin, a great industry and economy, and a very strong ecosystem in business and industry. And so we've made these partnerships with industry experts who can then serve as guest speakers in the courses that you take. They serve as panelists in speaking events and activities that we hold in the business school throughout the year. And they also help as judges in our pitch and business plan competitions. These experts from industry also serve on the advisory board for the Munday School of Business. And in collaboration with faculty, they help to drive and develop the curriculum so that we always are offering the most current and the latest curriculum courses that we know will help to prepare you to hit the ground running on day one after you graduate. And then we have our Munday School of Business pitch and business plan competitions, the iChallenge pitch competition, and the St. Edward's 3-day startup, which is linked to the National 3-day Startup event. And this is where I will hand it over to Professor Alvarado, who will tell you more about these competitions, a little bit more about himself and the courses he teaches. Then we will jump over to Professor Ryan, who will do the same, and we will have plenty of time for Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ortiz, particularly for your leadership and vision of the management department and your support of the entrepreneurship program. And of course, it's always great to be joined by a real entrepreneur who's in the trenches, my colleague, Professor Ryan, with whom we will visit in just a few minutes. So if you are joining us today, thank you for your interest in our program. And I welcome your questions regardless of what perspective you might want to share. But I would start out by encouraging you to ask one question: why and when should I sign up to come to St. Edward's University and enroll in the Bill Munday School of Business with a major in entrepreneurship, or perhaps a minor in entrepreneurship? And the answer is, we're very proud of our program because we understand that entrepreneurship cannot be taught solely in the classroom. We must have co-curricular and extracurricular activities, much like it's very difficult to teach swimming in a classroom without getting into the pool. And so our co-curricular and extracurricular activities are part of what we call the iChallenge program. And this consists of 3 events during the school year. It starts with an immersion weekend called the 3-day startup. And this year it took place virtually, but it ordinarily takes place on campus at our Ragsdale Student Center. And it is a great opportunity to network with students from across campus who come together to find out how they can improve and innovate, and basically how to get an idea to that next stage where there is some feasibility and viability. But the most important lesson is building the relationships with the mentors and the faculty members that are involved in that program. Once you go through the 3-day startup program, you are then ready to enter our iChallenge Ideas for Innovation pitch competition. And ordinarily, these are held in the fall. The 3-day startup is held in October or early November, as it took place this year. And the iChallenge Ideas for Innovation pitch competition takes place in the middle of November. And we just completed those 2 events, both of them virtually for the first time, and there were great successes. because in the Ideas for Innovation pitch competition, you actually have 2 minutes to pitch before entrepreneur judges from the community, and you get to receive the feedback that would be so valuable if you want to move your idea venture to the next level of actually establishing perhaps a feasibility study, pitching to funders who may need to give you a little bit of a monetary or resource lift. But all of a sudden now you have added to your stable of network and support. Why? Because the top finishers in our Ideas for Innovation pitch competition then get selected to participate in our business plan competition in the spring. And you are paired with mentors in the community. You are also encouraged to attend many of the tutorial sessions that are offered prior to the business plan competition. And as Dr. Ortiz mentioned, you will either have the ability to participate with our newest collaborator, and that's the incubator called Uninc, or perhaps if you finish at the very top of the Ideas for Innovation pitch competition, you will have a seat at Capital Factory, which is the leading startup accelerator incubator in Central Texas and probably one of the top ones throughout the state. So what happens at the business plan competition? Well, this is the big time, and it's usually held in the Innovation Cluster Center of downtown, which is the Capital Factory building. Sometimes we have them in the Google Fiber facility, but obviously you are away from campus and now you really are immersed in the ecosystem of Austin, Texas. And the business plan competition enables you now to receive monetary awards for your top 3 finishers, and you have another set of judges that are interacting with you at all levels. So what do we want you to take away from our program? We want you to know that, one, we welcome your interest, that we have a niche that perhaps distinguishes us from other programs throughout the state of Texas and perhaps for the rest of the nation. We first start with, we are focused on the small, medium-sized enterprises. That means that you start at the bottom with a small business. And we encourage you to continue scaling it and growing it so that, yes, you can become the big businesses of tomorrow. The second focus is on family-owned businesses. We have found out that many of you have entrepreneurial backgrounds, family connections, and a lot of times it's maybe a family-style entrepreneurship entity that you're involved with. We encourage that, we welcome that, and it could be nothing more than a food truck that you have as part of your venture idea, or it could be something a lot bigger. But ultimately, as Dr. Ortiz says, we also have this social enterprise, social entrepreneurship focus. And that is consistent with the mission of the Bill Munday School of Business and the Holy Cross mission of St. Edward's University, which is we are here to improve the world. The idea that a rising tide lifts all boats. We're here to share opportunities and ideas. So as we look at our curriculum, we have the latest curriculum because, as Dr. Ortiz says, and as Professor Ryan will share with you, we're constantly bringing in resources from outside the classroom. And whether these are guest speakers or perhaps some of our illustrious alumni that have already been recognized in the entrepreneurship world to give you that added insight and lift. Opportunity recognition, entrepreneurial mindset are all based on passion to succeed. But we also know that there are great risks, especially in the environment that we are living in today. So entrepreneurship is the right major at the right time for these uncertain times that need so many new solutions, innovative, to cope with many of the challenges and problems that we are facing. So let me just close with these remarks as I hand it over to my colleague, Professor Ryan, one of the distinguishing marks of our program is you are a student in a small classroom. You are going to be relating with the professor in co-creating sometimes some of the new adventures and some of the new pioneering initiatives that are right on the horizon. The other item is that we also empower our students to take a leadership role. So we have a vibrant student entrepreneurship club that is a chapter of the National Collegiate Entrepreneur Organization. So all around, you're supported in a manner and in a way that makes you very competitive in the world of business, in the nonprofit world, and indeed in this innovation cluster that we call Austin, Texas. So we look forward to seeing you and look forward to hearing your questions. Professor Ryan.
Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate working with you and with Lorelei. I appreciate your leadership and your enthusiasm. And that's something that is exciting about being at St. Edward's, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. I echo unreservedly everything that you spoke. Entrepreneurship really has been evident worldwide and has been essential for prosperity. If you look at the companies that populated the Fortune 500 back in the year 2000, which is only 20 years ago, less than 50% of those companies are still there. Business disruption and deep customer empathy have helped new businesses emerge, and they've taken their place. This trend is going to continue, and it'll possibly increase over the coming years. Business change and velocity has increased at a furious pace, as being prepared and confident in navigating this is a key element for business, especially when you look at it through the eyes of entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurship mindset is valued, whether put in use in a large corporation or used to create new business ventures. We focus on developing this mindset. Now, I use books recently published, but in light of the fact that the velocity is so fast, I continue to earn certificates from renowned universities worldwide, such as University of Virginia, Northwestern, University of Copenhagen, HEC Paris, and basically allowed me to review and participate in the most current thought leaders in entrepreneurship. But enough about me. Let's really talk about students. It's been a pleasure to teach students at St. Edward's. After a long, high growth, high tech, I was very fortunate to get into it early and to be able to rise with that tide. But I'm rewarded today, every day, with the drive and enthusiasm of the students I get to teach and learn from. Education today is both expository and it's experiential, and we bring that to students in close coordination. The small classes, hands-on work with professors, this increases the opportunity for success for our students when they graduate. In addition, business contacts in the community enhance their connection with the reality and execution of business. So I get to teach courses that really bring this, these skills, mindset, philosophy, and drive to students. And this is what excites me every day. So I just want to, again, reiterate the fact that this is a wonderful place to grow and learn and experience this. And I'll just move on with Lorelei. Please take over.
Thank you so much, Professor Ryan and Dr. Ortiz and Professor Alvarado. If you don't mind turning your cameras on as well, I want to thank you so much for that wealth of information and comprehensive look at the entrepreneurship program at St. Edward's and why it is a really important program for students to consider today. I want to invite in our audience to submit any questions that you may have, things that were covered in the presentation that you'd like to revisit and kind of know more about, or questions that you have of things that weren't discussed that you would like to know. So please do use the Q&A feature of Zoom to share any questions that you may have, and look forward to directing them to our presenters. I know that a question that often comes up for us in the admission office as we're talking to students who are considering St. Edward's, and specifically the Munday School of Business and the entrepreneurship program specifically, often want to know, what do our students do once they leave the Hilltop, once they go and out into professional life? So can you provide some examples, Dr. Ortiz, Professor Alvarado, Professor Ryan, of things that your students have done, perhaps specific in the entrepreneurship major, once they've left the Hilltop? So careers that they've gone on to, graduate programs, perhaps things that they are out there creating and inventing as innovators.
Well, let me go ahead and take that question and tell you that we are so proud of our student graduates, and I call them student entrepreneurs. So let me give you an example of just a few of our success stories. One is called Cabo Bob's, which is a very popular burrito eatery right near campus, but now they have several different outlets. And that was started by one of our alumni, John Stepan, and he was chosen as our Entrepreneur of the Year by the Student Entrepreneurship Club a few years ago. Another success story is a student entrepreneur who was chosen as one of the top 30 under 30 by Forbes magazine. Her name is Regina Vatterott. And Regina and her team partner started with an idea that was first presented in an entrepreneurship class. In fact, one of my entrepreneurship classes at St. Edward's University. I did not think much of the idea when it was first presented, but it has blown me away, because after competition, after competition, after competition, this idea morphed thanks to the feedback of mentors. And Ellie Grid is now a company that is involved with a digital software pillbox, if you will, that is particularly needed by gatekeepers of older and elder family members to make sure that they take their meds, if you will. Another success story is Natalie Fahn, who again presented her idea at the business plan competition and the iChallenge at St. Edward's, and it was called On Vinyl Media. At that time, it was basically concentrating on how to promote vinyl records throughout the Austin live music capital of the world environment. Well, On Vinyl Media has now morphed into supporting musicians, particularly in this time when live performances and merchandising may not be quite as available. And last but not least, we have Ashley Wainscott, who also was selected as our Entrepreneur of the Year last year by the Student Entrepreneurship Club. And she started a company called Simply Net Home, and now it's called Homestyle, and it's about home remodeling. And all of these students, now obviously graduates and distinguished alumni, are just a top of the iceberg of what you can also expect to become if you are part of our program.
Thank you for those wonderful examples, Dr. Tony. We do have a question here related to minors. So how often do entrepreneurship students take on minors in different subjects, perhaps other subjects within the School of Business, within the Munday School of Business, or perhaps even minors in other schools within the university?
I'll take that one. I think it's fairly common for students to take minors, and it's not uncommon for students to take a major in the business school and a minor in the business school. But there are also complementary interdisciplinary opportunities for students. So we tend to have, let's say, students who are majoring in business and getting a minor in communication, or vice versa. Psychology, we have a really strong link with kinesiology, for example, because of some of the requirements for their programming, and many of them want to start their own therapy programs and so forth. And so we have really great opportunities for the major minor combinations. And it's pretty common for students in the business school to have that minor.
wonder if you talk a little bit about the process by which students really kind of discover that entrepreneurship is a fit for them, either as a major or minor. So a little bit about kind of how students come into the process. Perhaps they're thinking business more broadly, or maybe they're not sure that they want to do business, but they're just drawn to something in the business area, and they're trying to kind of narrow it down. How do students kind of go through the process? What are some of the characteristics that a student kind of identifies in themselves that makes them a good fit for the entrepreneurship program?
I'm going to start, but then I'm going to hand it over to Tony and Rob, since they're the Entre faculty. I have a recent example. So I have a student who is a finance major, but he is a born entrepreneur. That is all he talks about. And I've often told him, are you sure you're not an entrepreneurship major? So he has the major in finance with the entrepreneurship minor. He's from Honduras, and he has these great ideas. He's one of my students who just recently worked with On Inc. To develop his business idea. And so it comes from, I think the way that they decide this is from the support of their faculty and their mentors who take the time to sit and listen. I've had at least 3 phone conversations with a student during the semester, not after class, not before, but he'll say, hey, can I just call you and talk to you about these ideas and what I'm thinking? And I say, sure. And it's been literally, I think one time we were on the phone for about an hour, just told me all about his idea, what his aspirations are. He has the business that he wants to start is in financial investments and planning. And so that's why he's choosing the finance as the major, but he wants to be self-employed and he wants to develop his own finance firm. And so that's where those 2 interests really came together. But I think the one unique thing that we have and the advantage that we have at St. Edward's is that we can take the time because our classes we don't have hundreds of students in one class where you don't even get to know what their names are. My classes kept out at 25. Most of the classes that Robert and Tony teach are also capped at about 25. So we have a lot of time to get to know our students. And we want to get to know our students. We want to know their interests. We want to be lifelong mentors. I still have students that I'm connected to that graduated 10 years ago that still call me every time they change jobs or need a recommendation to step up in a position. So I think it comes a lot from us having the ability and the time to connect individually with each student and to get to know each student and to be there to mentor and to guide and to help them develop their interests. And they sometimes don't really know what those interests are, but they know what they're passionate about. And that's where we can help them find that path. And then I'm punting people over to Tony all the time when I have a student who's really interested. As a matter of fact, this student that I was just speaking about, when he first came in as a transfer, I said, you've got to meet Professor Alvarado. Let me connect you. You've got to meet these other entrepreneurship professors. And so we have that interconnectivity. We have the system already in place where we can take a lot of time to mentor the student and provide them the guidance that they need. And if we don't have the answer, then we can connect them with the right faculty. I don't know if Tony and Rob, if you want to jump in with anything beyond that.
Well, I just want to mention that my students have told me that entrepreneurship is fun. And I thought that was interesting. They really enjoyed. I had one gentleman, Cristobal, who was in molecular biology as a major. And he was in my introduction class. And he came to me in the middle of the semester and he said, I want to change my major. And I want to change to entrepreneurship. I kind of looked at it, I thought, wow, he's going from a very heady subject, molecular biology, and looking at this, and I kind of asked him why, and he said, because I'm having fun at it. And I thought that was interesting. I think that's a key element. Business should be fun. It really should. It is a game in many ways. It's a very lucrative game. It's one that you can enjoy the little wins and and sometimes suffer little losses as well, but that's okay. Failure is okay because you learn from it. And that's the wonderful thing about entrepreneurship. You learn sometimes through your failures without the stigma. And that is a way to really have the pleasantry of life is to enjoy the challenge, learn what's necessary to win, and have this fertile field to do so. So I just want to bring that to light. And if you have any interest in this, I can certainly, have you speak to some students.
So let me just do a postscript on that. And thank you so much, Professor Ryan and Dr. Ortiz for what you just said, because entrepreneurship doesn't belong to any one school. It belongs to the entire university. And that's the attitude of our dean, Dr. Marianne Ward-Paradosa, and of Dr. Ortiz, former president of our Senate faculty. We basically are ambassadors to the rest of the university. And the only way our students really succeed is by interconnecting, just like Professor Ryan said. You are in a business school. You may not know anything about biology. Well, connect with a biology major, or you may not know anything necessarily about gaming. Well, let's connect with somebody over in visual studies. And part of the entryway into entrepreneurship in the minor are these business plan competitions, the pitch competitions, but it's mostly the faculty and the collegiality that allows us to spread the word that we're open for business, no pun intended. We want every student to have that sense of fun, that sense of belonging, but also and ultimately it's about creating value and being able to say, instead of working for the man, I want to be the man. So that's what I think sells our program.
I love that. Be the man or the woman.
There you go. Right.
So a question about students who have come to St. Edward's and started a business, either once they've left the Hilltop. I know you talked a little bit about that, Tony, already. Certainly Cabo Bob's is very, very popular with our students. It's conveniently around the corner in terms of one of their locations. So much love to our former Hilltopper for putting a location right near the Hilltop. But can you talk a little bit about students who start a business while they're still a student at the university? Or perhaps students who come into the university having already started a business, perhaps in high school, or before they transferred into the university for transfer students who are able to kind of be a student, perhaps in the entrepreneurship major or minor, while still simultaneously kind of running their own business.
Well, let me go ahead and start this off. And I think Professor Ryan may have some students that he's come across, but ultimately, the philosophy that we are now really promoting, and it's not just us, it's part of the national conferences of entrepreneurship, the Collegiate Entrepreneur Organization. We need to be sure that our students are taking the opportunity to start businesses while they're still in school. Why? Because one, you need to learn while you're here, and you have this vast array of faculty members that are available to support you. If you have finance questions, or you have accounting questions, you have marketing questions, well, guess what? We got all those faculty members here. So why would you want not to do it while you're in school to take advantage of all these resources? But the second thing is, entrepreneurship is a very challenging field. And the example I use in my class is to say, the best baseball player misses the ball that the pitcher throws 7 out of 10 times. And that's considered to be really a good hitter, right? A 300 batting average. Well, entrepreneurs need to understand that they're not going to hit it out of the ballpark the first time they start a business, or the second or the third, but they are going to succeed because they learn from the near attempts. We call them, let's learn from failure, the lean startup, the idea of doing business model canvassing. And we now have several facilities, as have been shared with you at Capital Factory, at Uninc, that are there to help us work through some of those opportunities while you're still in school.
I want to also mention one other thing, and that is that at least in my courses, when you build a business as a student, it's done in a group, okay? And it's an opportunity to work within a group, to learn group dynamics, and to share experiences together.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, Professor Ryan? So some of the courses where students are actually kind of tasked with creating a business in a group, and kind of what that looks like. Is it a semester-long project? Is it, kind of types of businesses they create? Or is that something that are ideas generated by the student groups themselves or come from you or other professors?
What in the introduction to entrepreneurship, I actually have them create a business, and they go through the ideation process where they come through with learning how to come up with ideas, how to understand where there are gaps in the market, where there is business need, where there is basically learn to have customer empathy, to really understand what the customer is going through, or the prospective customer. And they learn this as a group in a group project. So I will generally have anywhere between 4 and 5 students in a group. They create a business together, and they ideate what the business is going to be. They go through the process of forming, actually, I guess I have to say informally creating the business. They're not actually going out and creating it legally, but what they're doing is forming a business together and addressing a need. And then they get an opportunity to actually present that need as if they are presenting to a number of people who could possibly invest in them. And so learn to go through this, and some of them have been quite sophisticated when they finished. I've been very impressed.
Before we conclude, I want to give our audience a few more minutes just to contribute any additional questions they may have before we sign off here. I do want to draw our audience's attention to the slide that's on their screen currently. There's contact information for Dr. Ortiz if you would like to follow up with her. Certainly, if you would like to talk to Professor Alvarado or Professor Ryan, Dr. Ortiz can connect you, so please feel free to email her. Also, if you have questions for us in the admission office, or if you'd like to get connected to any of our presenters today, you can also email us in the admission office at admit@stedwards.edu. So please do note that information if you would like to follow up or continue this conversation after today's webinar. Any concluding remarks from our presenters before we sign off? And I'm happy to close out in a few minutes, but I want to give you an opportunity to say anything additional you'd like to say about entrepreneurship. Perhaps I will kind of pose this question to all three of you. Why should a student study entrepreneurship at St. Edward's as opposed to another university?
Individualized attention, faculty who are super caring, very connected, and want to be a lifelong mentor and see you succeed.
This is a great place to learn how to learn. And it is located in one of the unbelievable, beautiful places on this planet. It's called Austin, and it's an innovation cluster. And why would you not want to be at St. Edward's University, which is right smack in the middle of this innovation cluster? And you are in an environment, a beautiful campus, great peer-to-peer support, and fantastic faculty. So this is where you ought to be.
I would have to say also that it's a cooperative environment rather than competitive environment, one that wants you to succeed and will help you to equip you to succeed, not only now as you're going through your 4 years here, but continuing on, caring about the future with you.
Well, thank you for those concluding remarks and certainly advocating for the entrepreneurship program. I have to say that I've been at the university a long time, and everything that you said is exactly true. We have incredibly caring faculty, not just in the Munday School of Business, but across the university. Austin is an incredible hub for our students to be in for enjoying life off campus, but also to be connected to one of the most dynamic economies in the world and in the country for sure, and a creative and innovative city like Austin. And it is an incredibly collaborative environment at St. Edward's, as you said, Professor Ryan, and the students are just very collegial with one another, and there's a lot of good camaraderie among the students, as well as between faculty and students at St. Ed. So I echo everything, and thank you so much for your time and your wonderful information today. Students, thank you so much for attending this presentation. I hope that you found it helpful. And again, we look forward to hearing from you. We are here for you in the admission office. You can reach us at any time by emailing us. Let us know how we can help you. I know this is an incredibly challenging time to go through a college search, and we are here to help you and assist you and answer any questions that you or your parents have. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Stay safe, be well. And we'll look forward to seeing you hopefully in person here in Austin very soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.